GMGM. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Forge Chat episode 2. So we made it past the first one. We're steadily on our way to double-digit Forge Chats, which is really cool. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Marty. I'm the CEO at Lightning Forge Games, which is a gaming ecosystem. Currently building our flagship title, Grand Tactics Final Order, or GTFO. I was going to say, long-time viewers of Forge Chat, because there's been one other one, will know Ray or Draz. How you doing, man? You're muted,
Sorry, just
Draz.
one sec. Just mute it for a sec. I just in the middle of something. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Happy to see everybody. Second one, excellent. I got a bit of a cold at the moment, but all good. Looking forward to seeing what you guys got up to overseas. What's happening?
Not too many, like a moderate amount of shenanigans. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
And welcome to Jackson or Barker.
Yeah. So, and I guess the big announcement this week. One of our new hires this week, actually, the team's growing very, very rapidly, is Jackson, our brand new head of community. So officially, Jackson, welcome aboard. I think I've said that to you like four times now. But yeah, did you want to introduce yourself to the community, let them know who you are and a bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, for sure. So I am Jackson Barker. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me. I am, a Web3 gaming enthusiast. I've been a gamer since as long as I can remember, and got into crypto and Web3 stuff around COVID. Everyone was inside, everyone was in the internet, seeing all these new things coming out. So yeah, I've been around in the space for that long. But I was working in psychology. But I decided to have a bit of a career shift, and I've ended up in Web3 gaming and community. And yeah, I've loved it. I've worked at Animoca, working as their community lead at Phantom Galaxies, and that was a really awesome experience. But I'm looking forward to my new path. It's great.
Yeah, obviously super excited to have you on board. For anyone who, I was about to say anyone who hasn't heard of Animoca brands, but if you're in the Web3 space, I'm assuming you've heard of Animoca. They are one of, if not the biggest Web3 publisher, I guess you would say they are. Conglomerate of studios and titles and all that good stuff. So yeah, definitely we feel ourselves very, very fortunate that we were able to poach you away from them. On good terms. Obviously, one of their studios, Blowfish Studios, that makes Phantom Galaxies, is here in Sydney alongside LFG. We're close with the people there. We love them. We're actually going to be at South by Southwest Sydney in 2 weeks, showing off the playable build of Little GTFO at the same event that they'll be there as well, which will be really cool to catch up with everyone. But yeah, God, it's been... I was actually having a look. We did our last Forge chat on the 13th of August. So it's been a month and a half sort of thing. And the amount of stuff that's happened in that time is just absolutely insane. I come from the traditional gaming space where things move very, very quickly. And, obviously GameFi just takes that and just amplifies it by like 100x. It's insane. So yeah, I mean, Draz, this is your show, man. Do you want us to do a bit of a recap? Do we have any questions? Like, how do you want to play it?
Well, I suppose if you could just maybe keep them in order of where you've been. Maybe I'd say probably Tokyo 2049. What happened there?
Yeah.
How did the playable demo sort of go for everybody?
Yeah, so obviously behind the scenes, the whole team has been very hard at work putting together the first playable build of Grand Tactics Final Order, GTFO, our flagship title. We affectionately call this particular build Little GTFO, mostly because it's what we refer to as a proof of concept or a vertical slice build. It's not a full game in any way, shape, or form. As an example, it doesn't have a main menu. You open the app and it just dumps you straight into a battle scene. And there's a menu where you can go and switch between different scenes and stuff like that. So it is definitely not something that would be at a level of polish that we would release on Steam or Epic or Xbox, PlayStation, wherever it happens to be. But we put it together primarily for two reasons. One, it became an invaluable tool when we were talking to potential VCs, potential ecosystem partners, just all the people we were meeting with at Token 2049, to basically give them an idea of what we're actually talking about and what we're actually building, and so they can actually, I was literally just running around Token, just shoving an iPad in people's faces. It was great fun. Actually, we had two iPads too, so we had a lot of the time the team had to divide and conquer. There were so many events that we were trying to get to. So yeah, we sort of split up and just had iPads floating around everywhere. But yeah, it was really great just to be able to show people, like, who maybe didn't know what an auto battler was, who didn't really understand when we say like, hey, like, we're actually training AI, and we actually built into little GTFO two different versions of the AI tactics. So there's like a dumb and a smart version, basically. And there's a little toggle, you can just switch it on and off. So when you have the same two armies battling, and they flick a switch and they play it again, and they watch it play out completely differently on screen, it was an amazing way for us to just really reinforce why this was so exciting, why having trainable, like, actual deep reinforcement learning based ML agents driving your army and your tactics forward, just creates this incredible depth of gameplay, which was, being able to show that to people was amazing. And then, on the other side as well, little GTFO has been invaluable for us as a learning tool, almost. The early iterations, we were sort of, it was going down a road where the game was going to have a much more serious tone. Looked and felt more like, if you watched a game of Warhammer playing out, like, on a tabletop or something like that. And we got a few weeks into it, and the team actually had an offsite at the time, in Sydney, and we're all there, like, looking at it and, like, watching, like, videos and stuff like that, and putting all the bugs together and, like, watching it crash. The build was literally, we had, like, bugs the build was crashing, like, literally until the flight. I'm on the plane to Singapore fixing bugs and, like, redeploying builds.
No pressure.
The poor person sitting next to me on the plane trying to sleep, and I'm there with, like, the laptop in front of me, and I've got the iPad sort of jammed, like, next to me in the seat, because economy seats, I'm 6 foot tall. Economy seats were not designed for tall people. So they're trying to do game development in an economy class seat was fun. This is why we should fly business, just saying. But yeah, like, we're at the offsite, and we're like, we like this, we can see where it's going, but it was just missing something. And we're thinking about it. There may have been some whiskey involved, and we're like, hang on, like, we named the studio LFG for Let's Fucking Go. Like, clearly we're not taking ourselves too seriously here. The game is called GTFO, for Christ's sake. So we're like, hang on, like, what actually happens if we just, like, crank up some of the stupid aspects for a little bit? So we went back, we redesigned the Barbarian faction in particular, although the Imperials got some love at the same time. And we're like, all right, what if just everything they do is about just creating huge explosions on the screen? So we gave him a new unit, the Bomberman. He'll probably have a proper name by the time it gets to release. And we literally just took, like, one of our infantry models, and we just slapped a bomb, like, on his chest, basically. This big, like, Batman style 1960s bomb. Actually, have I got?
So he's a suicide bomber guy, is he?
Yeah, pretty much.
He runs
He
into
just,
the blows up.
if you've ever studied, like, medieval warfare, he's a petard, basically.
Right.
They used to be warriors that used to literally carry casks of gunpowder, and their job was to run at the enemy, and hope that, like, an arrow or a sword or something hit them, and they went bang.
It's a pretty bad job.
It's not fun. I wouldn't recommend doing it more than once. Luckily, they don't do it more than once, so it's fine. It's an explosive career path. But we added that in. We cranked up, like, the physics, and, like, we made sure the explosion, instead of applying forces equally, did a lot more, like, vertical force. So instead of everything just getting blown backwards, they got, like, flung up into the air. We redesigned the map. So there's, like, a river flowing through it with, like, a massive chasm in the middle. So the bomber would run through, bang, everyone, like, fall in the chasm. We added the Wilhelm scream as they're all falling down and stuff like that. And we're like, hang on, this is it. Like, this, like, there was no real changes to the AI or the rest of the army compositions. We just added the Bomberman. It's like, hang on, this just got fun. Like we were literally setting up. Actually, you know what? How can I do this? This is completely unplanned. I'm going to fire up Unity. We'll keep talking. I'll see if I can. Let's just do a live demo, like in the middle of an AMA. That sounds fun. I can't
May
see
as
this
well.
going wrong in any way, shape, or form. If you need proof that this is live, like this is it right now. Johnny's going to pop up in the chat in a second, going, "What are you doing? Don't do that."
It's not ready.
Yeah, I've got the latest one here. Well, it's no game is ever ready. One of the very hard lessons, and Jax, I'm sure you've come across this as well. You know, with previous games and previous studios, one of the hardest things for someone working in a creative field is deciding that something is ready to put out there. You know, there's 50 things I want to work on in little GTFO right now. You know, there's always things like, oh, if only we could go back and redo this model, this animation, this, you know, this gameplay. There's always going to be things you want to change. It gets to a point where you just have to go, you know what? Let's just put it out there. As long as the community and the players understand what they are looking at, and like I said, what I'm hopefully about to show, it's like it's just firing up now on this screen, is very, very early. This is literally what 5 weeks into core development at the moment. Which, if you compare that to other games that you've probably played, this is years before the game would ever get announced, let alone shown to the public in any way, shape, or form. But again, one of the beautiful things about building in the Web3 space is we understand it's not just about making the best product. It's about building the community and building the product with the community side by side. Hence why one of our very first hires that we did was a head of community. We knew going into this, just like that getting that community going, having someone who can be there working with our amazing like mods and stuff like that, making sure there's always someone in Discord, always someone in Telegram, that the Twitter account won't go for a week at a time because I forgot to tweet that week. Like we know that's such a critical part of what we're doing. We just wanted to really lean in on that, and that's why we feel blessed to have Jackson coming on board, and some of the other hires that we'll be able to talk about hopefully very soon as well. So I'm going to drink coffee while we talk too, because it's like 10 a.m. and coffee.
Caffeine's important.
All right, let's see what we can do here. This is very unplanned. Did we actually have any questions today, Draz? Like I didn't see.
I didn't see any. I've got a few questions just generally, I suppose, but I haven't seen any actually in the Discord or anything like that.
Yeah, so fire them off while I get this ready. Let's see how this goes.
I mean, obviously, when you got back, you sort of mentioned that whatever it is you're working on about to load up is possibly available to the community soonish.
Yeah,
it's just like I say, just a fun thing to do for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we'll definitely be making sure that people are aware that this is not the full game. So we'll definitely need to change the logo and just put like a message at the start and stuff like that. Sure. But again, like we would love to get this out there. We would love to get feedback from the community. I was at an event 2 nights ago. God, time just the other night. At this gorgeous like restored theater near like about an hour's drive from where I live, where they were announcing they're building like a full like movie production, like Central Coast Studios. They're gonna have like 12 sound stages. They're gonna have a water stage. Apparently there's not one in New South Wales like at the standard they need to do like water stuff. Apparently that's a big thing in movies. They're building I can't remember what they call them, but sound stages where there's like a 360 screen wrapped around it. And they'll have it all set up with like Unreal Engine or Unity or something like that. So there's like you can do like epic style, like Avengers style movies, but you don't actually need to like green screen it and then put it all in. You just have this massive screen, and the actors get to see it in real time. You don't get that weird disconnect where they're standing in an empty room, but they're told, "Oh, pretend you're standing on a cliff, like about to drop the ring into the volcano." Like,
sure. How far off is the playable version for the community?
Honestly, the only thing we're really trying to figure out is the best way to get it into players' hands. At the moment, because obviously we built this very much with Token 2049 in mind. Sure. It's optimized specifically for iPads. So we just need to basically have a look at it, see how it goes if we were to say deploy it as a Windows or just a standard like Mac standalone build. Find the right distribution channel to get it out there. We probably don't want to put this on Steam or Epic at the moment because it's not done. It's not even what I would consider like early access. It's very, very early on. So yeah, just working out, like I said, it's very much just working out the logistics behind how we get this to people. And I would never just put this as a zipped exe file in Discord, because I could never imagine me downloading that and actually running a random exe I found on Discord. And I hope and pray that people aren't doing that. So yeah, obviously making sure we're not, there's no malware in it, obviously, but we don't want to get people in the habit of ever doing that in the first place. So yeah, just working out the best way to get it to people. And yeah, just a bit of cleanup, make sure people understand what it actually is. I'm about to screen share. I will preface this that this may or may not work. I have no idea. This is very off the cuff. All right. Let's see how we go here. All right. Oh, hang on. Where's my... Half the buttons aren't showing. Why is that not working? There we go. Let's just crank up large armies on both sides. Where's that? And let's go. I don't know if sound's coming through or not. You see the Bomberman just there. So he's going to go in here and
you'll see it.
Like, big little guy.
And then, yeah, you can actually go in and go into like deployment mode. So there's like pre-built armies. You can just go and have battle against each other. And you can obviously turn the AI off and on. Or there's deployment mode, which is where we put the army on this side. And I'll go large as well because that's more fun. But you get to basically set up how you want to try to defeat them. So actually what we saw at the event the other night, once people realized that the Bombermen were a thing, this was pretty much what they were doing, is they were just like loading up on Bombermen and just like letting them go and do their thing. Oh, that broke. There we go. I'll just put a barbarian hero there as well, just for fun.
Just imagine all the Wilhelm screams.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the thing. Like, it not only does it actually make the game feel a lot more fun. That army composition is not the best one, obviously. But yeah, it just really helped us sort of find the fun. Just we made something that people actually enjoy just watching, which was pretty cool. Again, very, very early on in terms of development. This is not in any way, shape, or form representative of the final product. But yeah, let me probably just need some archers, maybe.
And these armies that you're dropping out there now, how do people get them in the game when the game is out?
Yeah, so there's two different kinds of units that you'll have in GTFO specifically. There'll be your heroes and there'll be your troops. So troops being like your archers and I've got like some just little axemen here. I'll pop them at the front.
Bomberman's a troop, obviously.
Yep. So Bombermans are a troop. They're like every troop comes in a squad, but you can have a squad of one. For example, like a Titan. Let's drop this guy like up here somewhere. Is just a squad of one basically.
He's not a hero.
No. So heroes are like these guys here. Each faction will have at this stage 5 different classes of hero that you can get. And then you'll be able to customize them and do a lot of cool stuff with that there. The heroes are the ones that basically are controlling the AI tactics. So they're the ones that are sort of leading the army. They'll affect your army composition. So, as an example, if you have an army that only has barbarian heroes, you can only utilize barbarian troops in that particular army. So it's up to you to work out, do you want to go all in on barbarians? Do you want to have a mixture of barbarians and Imperials? Like, yeah, it'll be up to the players to sort of, work out the best army compositions as they sort of move forward. All of your troops, you'll basically unlock and level up and upgrade as you would in a traditional game. But the heroes will be obviously on-chain. There'll be NFTs attached to them, as well as the tactics that they actually develop as well, which is the cool part. So
the tactics are separate to the hero itself.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, theoretically, let's say, for example, I was going to a tournament this weekend, and I'm like, you know what? All I've seen all week is, barbarian archers. Everyone is just hammering archers at the moment. They think that's the best tactic. I can go on the secondary marketplace and I can rent a tactic which teaches my hero how to defeat archers. Or, maybe I'm training my heroes and I'm going to a tournament and I'm going to be using archers, so I deliberately start putting a heap of cheap tactics on the secondary marketplace that are terrible against archers. Like, there's a lot of really interesting ways that the metagame and the marketplace and the tactics training all sort of tie together. And that's, again, this is just in GTFO. Maybe there's other games in the LFG ecosystem we're building alongside this, YOLO. So yeah, we'll just sort of wait and see what happens there. But yeah, let me hit play. And you'll even notice, like, the barbarian hero, or like when he swings and attacks, it actually does like a physics effect, like a knockback effect. So we've sort of done like, the barbarians very heavily do a lot of like physics-based attacks, mostly because it's fun. Was the main? I just saw the Oni just fall off the back there. But yeah, like, it creates a lot of interesting gameplay. Each faction will have their own sort of way they try to win. And as I said, it's up to you to decide if you want to go all in on a specific faction, if you want to try and spread out across multiple within an army, or maybe instead of having one large army, you decide you'd rather have, say, two medium-sized armies, maybe one barbarian, one imperial, or whatever it happens to be. So instead of entering tournaments designed for large armies, you enter twice into tournaments for medium-sized armies. We're going to support players basically going as wide as they want. So if you've got the troops, the heroes, the tactics to field multiple armies in a tournament, you won't have to worry about like making a second account and going through all that like rubbish. We will support that natively within the game for you automatically. Because it's fun. Like, if you've gone to the work of training up these troops and collecting the heroes, you don't want to have to, mess around with that. We want you focused on the game. So why wouldn't we just support that ourselves as a core feature? So
nice.
So yeah, like I said, so that's basically this is little GTFO. We're going to basically do a little bit of work on it just to basically get it ready for the community to get their hands on. We'll probably set up like, maybe just a simple menu where, so it's a bit clearer how to get around everything and stuff like that. We'll obviously do a little bit of testing to make sure it's good. But yeah, as soon as it's ready, we'll get it into the community's hands. So for that in particular, I would definitely make sure you are, on our Discord, on our Telegram. I would definitely be making sure I'm using the Engage bot if you, are active on Twitter. Because this won't be a wide release. It's not just gonna be dropped on Steam or Epic or something like that. Because it's not a finished product, but if we have the opportunity to have the community get involved at this stage, then yeah, we'd love to do that.
Sure, I'm sure lots of people would just enjoy that. My son's definitely into this sort of game. He plays the tabs, the battle simulators and things where you drop the numbers and set them off against each other and off they go. I like the way they all move individually there. It's pretty cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Graphics. And so that's all motion captured that you guys showed a little while back.
It's a bit of both. So yeah, some of the animation stuff is from a tool called Mixamo. It's actually an Adobe product. They have like a lot of just like base animations in there. Walking, running, stuff like that. And then we're working with a super talented like art and VFX team that have been helping us out, not only with doing animations and stuff for in-game, but they're also helping us put together some really cool like cinematic stuff for the LFG ecosystem as well, which would be really cool.
Nice. Let's show you something. Hang on. You say anything about that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can't say anything?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm just talking about, I'll go back to where I was. All right. That's for number 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet a little while back. I can't remember. I was just looking for it before, but I can't find it now. But is RX16 or RZ16? There's some sort of program where they can take new games. Is that? I mean, I saw you guys applied for it. Is that interesting, or what happens with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's A16Z speedrun. So A16 are a huge VC, venture capitalists, I guess you'd say, Andreessen Horowitz. If you look them up, they manage a huge portfolio across every industry you can imagine. So not just gaming and Web3, but obviously gaming and Web3 for A16 is a very strong focus. And they started, I want to say like a year or two ago now, they started a program called Speedrun, which is basically a 3-month intense incubator program. Successful applicants move to San Francisco for 3 months, work out of the A16Z office, one-on-one mentoring from their team, ending with a demo day where they bring all of their contacts and VCs and investors together. So like 500 investors all come together, and you get to pitch your project directly to them. I believe if you search for A16Z Speedrun on Twitter, you'll see like all the posts about Speedrun 4, which is the one we've applied for this week. I believe the last numbers I saw was something like less than 1% of applicants get approved. It is a very competitive program.
Yeah, there were thousands, I think, looking at it
Yeah.
a while back.
They'll get thousands of applications. We've had multiple connections we have in the industry refer us directly to A16Z. They say like, hey, you need to look at what LFG is building. These guys are onto something really cool, which is going to be awesome. But yeah, very, very competitive. But yeah, teams that get into Speedrun, it's an incredible opportunity for the studio to grow. You get a direct investment from A16Z. I believe it's like 80% of projects that show at the demo day usually get direct investment from investors at that event. Not to mention just, the opportunity to learn from, some of the greatest minds across both gaming, Web3, and just business in general would be absolutely incredible. The only problem I have with the whole thing is that it's San Francisco in January, February, and March. It's going to be cold. I do not enjoy the cold at all, but if that's what we got to do, then absolutely that's what we got to do.
Who goes from LFG if you were selected?
It will most likely be 4 of the actual founding team will go over.
Okay.
So we're not going to take everyone over. We'll still have people in Australia, keeping the lights on and keeping everything moving forward.
Sure.
But yeah, well, obviously the founders or some of the founders will head over and work directly from the A16Z offices over there. We'll probably just get like a big Airbnb or old school at Silicon Valley style or something like that.
Party house.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Like let's be honest, yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's very much we're pretty excited for the opportunity because it means that we just get literally 3 months where we just go over and we just live, breathe, sleep LFG.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very excited for that. Put the application all together. We've had it looked at by a bunch of really close connections we have in the industry. They're all very, very bullish on what we're putting together. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens from there. From what I've heard back from the team, they usually let everyone know pretty quickly what's happening. So hopefully by the time we do Forge Chat number 3, we may have a big announcement. You never know.
Very nice. How far is I mean, obviously, like you say, it's very early days and things, but how far is GTFO and all the other stuff that comes with it? I suppose the tokenomics, actually, maybe tokenomics. How far off are you sort of talking a little bit about that side of things?
Yeah, tokenomics is one of those things that there's a lot of stuff that's moving and evolving very rapidly behind the scenes. I know our original plan was to drop it at token. Those plans, I'm not going to say unfortunately changed. Fortunately, they changed
Sure.
because we both got some really great advice and we decided to rework what we were doing in a way that is much more beneficial to the LFG ecosystem and the community at large. When you see the tokenomics, you'll understand exactly what I am talking about there. It's we've taken a very YOLO approach to tokenomics, basically.
Well, it is, isn't it? Really, you've got to get it right from the start because
you got to get it right.
If you don't, coordinated with a lot of games, especially from the future, whatever games are coming, and if they integrate with the tokenomics, I mean, you have to get it right, considering all those things in the future.
Yeah, we've done this before, thankfully. Where we're working, we've announced we're part of like Helica Accelerate. We're working with the Helica team. doing some stuff there on the tokenomics side as well. Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that when we do announce it, and obviously when we announce it, the whole reason we do it before we actually do like TGE and stuff like that is we want feedback from the community. Thankfully, if we drop our tokenomics first, that does give us time to get feedback. It does, that tokenomics will be a living document. Even post TGE, like we know that, I mean, obviously there's things that we will bake into contracts that are immutable, but there'll also be things that are quite flexible in terms of how we want to go about doing things. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, the community is a very important voice in everything that we do. So we welcome that feedback. At the end of the day, that lets us create a better product, which is better aligned with the community's expectations. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing that as soon as we possibly can. But yeah, I think when we finally drop that and you look at it and you see just what we're actually building, if the first thought in your head, Draz, is not holy shit, then we've done something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like I said, there's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting with what we're trying to cook.
Nice. I mean, I know a little bit that other people don't know, but it
You know, a little smidge, yeah,
tiny bit. But even just that tiny bit is very interesting.
yeah.
With the
I
integration
should
of
point
what's
out there
coming.
too, it's not that we're trying to keep things from the community.
Of course, yeah.
I've said this all along, and even back, the previous studio that I ran for several years, we said this all along. There will be times that we announce things as early as we can. There are other times that we play things very close to the chest. And we hope by being as open and transparent as we try to be with the community, I hope that gives us a little bit of trust where when we do turn around and say, hey, we're not going to tell you guys about this just yet. We're going to keep this one is, close to the chest. I hope there's an understanding that, okay, we're not just doing it for the sake of it. There are usually very specific business, partnership or marketing reasons behind us sitting on something or reworking something or trying to make sure we're creating an ecosystem that stands the test of time, basically. Where we've I can talk about it. We had a very successful pre-seed round. That's how it funded the studio, got everything up and running. Some of those pre-seed investors are not invested in tokens; they're invested in equity. Equity vests over a much longer period of time. Equity means that for them to realize any potential value out of their investment, the studio has to, survive and thrive in a long-term fashion. We are not here for a short-term play. That's not what any of us on this end want to do. We want to build a sustainable ecosystem that will grow over time, and I'm hoping that none of us ever have to write a resume ever again. Is my goal. I hate resume writing. That's my evil plan here. Is just like let's build just an absolutely stupid ecosystem of games. Obviously, GTFO being the first one that we've announced. And as we say at the studio, let's fucking go, LFG.
Jackson, you're obviously from Animoca and that side of things. User acquisition is obviously a massive part of any game, and especially Web3 and all that sort of thing. Is that part of your purview, is to sort of take an active role in that side of things? And what do you do to sort of what do you do in your main role to keep sort of things active and moving?
Yeah, so making sure that the community is really engaged, as well as doing collaborations with other game studios, Web3 projects. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do to make sure that the server is growing and thriving. It's important when you have a lot of people coming in that you make sure that everybody is, the community is healthy and happy. And I think that's one of the big things is if the base of the community is strong, then anything you add to it will, grow exponentially.
Sure.
So yeah, I suppose my main focus right now is to make sure the roots are strong and then start working on actual user acquisition and other things along those lines pretty soon.
yeah, obviously acquisition is a lot easier when the game is out and
Yeah,
people get in and play it and things like that, and it brings obviously a massive amount. But like I say, setting up things in the background with other communities is probably good too, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I have some connections with some guilds and stuff like that, which I'll definitely be leveraging, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Nice, excellent. You're in New South Wales, aren't you, somewhere? But you're not actually in the same. You're not in the studios as such every day.
No, I'm on the other side of Sydney.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we keep the team remote most of the time. Yeah, we'll be actually we'll be meeting one of the mods in person very soon. We'll make sure the whole team's together in the office for that.
Okay,
you know,
cool.
we'll do lunch or something like that. Yeah, we get together when we need to, but I mean, honestly, since COVID, I mean, I personally have embraced working from home. I couldn't imagine having to go to the office 5 days a week anymore.
No.
And honestly, from all the studios I've been involved with in that time, I really haven't seen the value proposition for making people travel an hour on a train to sit in front of a computer and do the exact same thing they could have done from the comfort of their own home. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
especially IT, any sort of IT based role, unless you're actively walking around talking to users and things.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes 100% sense to do it from where you've got all your computers and your software and all that sort of thing ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. We make sure everyone on the team has all the equipment they need. We're very active in terms of being on various different chat platforms and stuff like that throughout the day. We do like our daily stand-ups. Everyone jumps on and we talk about everything. So yeah, very connected as a team. But yeah, I mean Jackson, you'll be with us at South by Southwest Sydney. So if anyone happens to be in the Sydney area and wants to play little GTFO potentially before everyone else, that would be an opportunity you have to do it. If you're in Melbourne, some of the team will be heading down there next week for Melbourne International Games Week, which would be really awesome to head down there and catch up with everyone. Again, I'll be wandering around. You'll spot the red hat. You'll spot me with the iPad in hand. So we'll be showing off the build down there. Like I said, that Melbourne International Games Week is much more traditional gaming focused. So there, we're not so much looking for VCs or Web3 ecosystem partners. But having said that, like I know I've got a meeting lined up with a good mate of mine who works for Xsolar. Xsolar, you've probably never heard of them, but they are a back-end platform that power most games you know of, from small like indie right through to the biggest AAA games. They do all sorts of things from like monetization, economy design, user acquisition. Like they do everything basically. But yeah, they're in the background. They don't make a big scene about what they do. But yeah, definitely keen to catch up with them. They're doing some amazing work at the moment, actually, on back end platform development. So if you're say building a game that you're going to have quests, achievements, daily events, all those sort of things, they have like a platform literally just ready to go. You just basically drag and drop it, onto your own AWS server, and then your game or potentially all of your games talk to that server, and it basically just handles all the work for you. Especially if you're going to say build, I don't know, an ecosystem of games where you wanted to have maybe quests going across different platforms. So imagine, for example, on like your Nintendo Switch, if you're playing say Mario Kart, and it's like oh hey, you just want to race with Mario, now go finish a level in Super Mario World with Mario or something like that. Having that level of interoperability between different titles, they've got a beautiful back end platform to support that. So yeah, very keen to chat with their team down there. Not that we're doing any of this. This is all just complete hypothetical, obviously.
Of course.
But if you want to, if you're not a Web3 game studio, you're just a game studio, and you want to build an ecosystem of products that have the ability to connect both crypto enthusiasts and traditional gamers in a way that no one is doing at the moment, how do you do it? Well, you need to have a lot of really fun, exciting things within your already fun and exciting game. You need to have unique value propositions that they can't find anywhere else, such as the ability to train their own heroes and watch them learn and adapt over time. You need to have a consistent design language across all of your games. So it becomes very obvious that when you look at one of them, it's like, yeah, that's an LFG game. And if you're going down that road, maybe you build a prototype or a proof of concept build called Little GTFO to allow you to really nail that design and art language from a very early stage, and then use that as your Bible driving forward all the future titles you may or may not be creating. It also means that when you know you have this much larger, more grandiose view of what you're trying to achieve, it means you prioritize hiring, for example, a head of community, because you know that you're going to need to have someone in that role that really understands from the ground level what you're trying to build, and understands they're not just going to be supporting an ecosystem for a single game. They're going to have people come in going, hey, I discovered the LFG ecosystem here or here or here, wherever it happens to be, both from traditional gaming platforms as well as from the crypto enthusiast side of things, and being able to juggle that insane thing and bring it all together. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just me rambling about nothing. So yeah, probably nothing.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit going on.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so the team's going to be in Melbourne next week. I'm actually flying down Friday because there's an event on Friday. So yeah, I've got a 6 a.m. flight out of Sydney, which I'm not looking forward to because 6 a.m. is not my favorite time of the day, believe it or not. But yeah, so we've got that. We've got GCAP, which is Games Connect Asia Pacific. That's a big games conference that runs the first half of the week. And then there's the Game Awards on the Wednesday night. I've got friends that have games nominated for Game of the Year and stuff like that. So I will be there, hopefully toasting with champagne and celebrating some amazing Australian created games there. And then end of that week is PAX Australia. So yeah, like PAX being like one of the biggest game conventions in the world. So yeah, get to do that. And then literally I fly from Melbourne to Sydney for South by Southwest Sydney. So which is so South by Southwest originally started in, I want to say Austin, I think was the original one. So huge like 10-day event celebrating not just even gaming or pop culture. It's a very broad I probably need to look at their website to see how they actually describe it themselves. But there's different streams for all sorts of interactive technology, media. So like film will be there, games are there, obviously. They do a lot of cool music activations throughout the week. And yeah, like I said, we'll be there showing little GTFO off at an event there. So yeah, very excited for that. And yeah, then we're back and we're building. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy time. I mean, and that's the thing. Throughout all of this, even while we're at Token, the team was, some of us were over at Token, some of us would be in Melbourne, some would be in Sydney. But yeah, the rest of the team is pushing forward the whole time.
Yeah.
Actually, Jackson, I think you've got some things that you wanted to show that we haven't shown the community before, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, I've got a little list of sneak peeks here. Yeah, they look really cool, and I know that lots of people went a bit crazy for the previous ones that we've released of this. Sorry. So I just need to figure out how this works. I've never used this software before.
Is it videos or like a?
2 images, what I'm showing.
Oh, okay.
And I better make them full screen because I don't want to accidentally leak anything we're not ready to do.
Oh, dude, I've made that mistake before. When you share an image, and at the bottom it's got like all the other stuff that's in the folder. Yeah, I remember I shared an image once like that, like I think it was on like one of these. And yeah, everyone's like, screenshotting and dissecting all the stuff at the bottom. If you're going to do that now, deliberately put some stuff in there just to mess with people.
Yeah.
That's fun, basically.
It'll just be a whole bunch of my selfies, like.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you've got to throw them into a PDF to do them as well.
Okay, so I've got one all sorted, and then the second one. Wahaha. All right. So now, set present. Share screen. No. Slides. Okay. Should have probably prepared for this, eh?
Again, if you need proof that we're live, this is pretty much it.
Yeah.
Worst case, shoot them over to me on
Yeah.
on Slack, and I can.
Probably the
was gonna
quickest way to do
I was going
that.
to say, it's lucky you don't have kids, Marty. You'd never see them, mate. You're traveling around all over the place.
I mean, that's not even all the travel we have planned.
Yeah.
There's another event that we're going to be attending in early November, which I don't think we're going to announce today, but we'll announce it very soon that we'll be there. That's yeah. If you're wondering why we're holding back on tokenomics, and you're wondering about why we keep saying YOLO, or why I've started saying GOAT randomly from time to time, yeah, I think you'll be very interested in that event that we may or may not be attending in early November in Dubai. But yeah, a lot of travel. I'm racking up the frequent flyer miles, which is always fun. I think I've got enough to get like a kettle or something by now, I would say. But yeah, at the end of the day, and this is the big takeaway from Token. Token for us was an incredible success, and we only spent maybe an hour in the actual convention itself. The rest of the time, we were literally at side events. We were catching up with people. We took our good friend and contact. I'm not going to name his name because I'm sure he's doxed, but I'm not sure if he is. From Helica, we took him out for drinks one night, and we're there until like 1 a.m. just chatting everything about the industry, and we happened to mention one of the. This is where I've got to be careful with my wording here. One of the groups of people in the Web3 space we were trying to get in touch with at the time, and he's like, "Oh, I know that person. Yeah, we were chatting like an hour ago." And just added us to a group chat on Telegram, and like the connection we'd been trying to make, done. And the beautiful thing with that is as well, it's not a cold referral. Like, this person in the group chat's like, "Oh, these guys are great. They're building this. It's awesome. Like, we're working with them. You guys need to as well." And that connection alone, honestly, I think will bear dividends far beyond like the cost of taking the team and going to Singapore. Although we did drink a lot of Negronis that night, so maybe it's barely break even. But yeah, that was the big takeaway for us of just when you are building in this space, it is very much about who you know. It's very much about especially for us, reestablishing a lot of connections. I was walking around Singapore and people were like, "Oh, you're the," they would know me from the previous studio I was at, even though I was wearing a shirt with a huge LFG logo on it. It's like, "Oh yeah, yep, that's me." But hey, this is what we're actually doing now. So yeah, just getting that opportunity to introduce the LFG ecosystem to the world was incredible. All right, I've got those files. Let me work out the best way to do this. Downloads. Oh, these look awesome.
Don't worry, everyone. I handpicked them from our files. This is my favorite one.
What if I just do this? Is that
nice?
I'm just checking if I just go like back and forth between them. Is this gonna like? Yeah, that works. Okay, just share my screen. I think this is actually the first time we've revealed. I'm just checking the file names at the top now. Actually, I need to rename the files because the file names give something away. Draz, you almost got me there. Just I see what you're doing.
You're a bit clever, mate. A bit clever for me.
All right, there we go. They're now called 1 and 2, so you guys can try and decrypt that one. Let's make sure I go. I'm also just checking what happens if I accidentally scroll too far. What it's going to preview. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's just a gameplay video. All right, so that one it's left. Okay, cool. Would you like the first sneak peek at the third faction in the LFG ecosystem?
Yes.
I mean, if you said no, I'd be a little pissed.
And yeah, mate.
So,
Boom.
not going to tell you anything about it. You guys can make what you will out of this.
We've seen him before in the Discord, I think, haven't we?
Maybe.
Not as ripped. I think he's been working out, but
Yeah, I know. I know the Hitbox, our head of art, went back and we did a bit of a pass on some of the like the anatomy and muscles across all the models actually.
Right.
He's like, oh, like this particular muscle on the back isn't meant to look like this. Like he's, you know, the attention to detail is obviously always going to be amazing. But yeah, so this is because of the way we're putting everything together. So yeah, this will be the model you see potentially across multiple games in the LFG ecosystem, including GTFO. But we actually use the same models when we're putting together cinematics and video content as well. We actually render all that in engine as well. So unlike a lot of other games where you see like a cinematic trailer, then you see the actual game and they look completely different. For us, what you see in a cinematic is the in-game assets just doing their thing. It doesn't look exactly the same because obviously GTFO is like the top-down camera. When we're doing cinematics, we can really get in there and like get a camera like up close and personal. But yeah, knowing that it's all the same assets across every single thing that we do. You almost got me there again, Draz.
Is he a hero?
Yes.
This guy a hero? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. He is one of the 5 heroes for faction number 3. I need to stress at this stage we haven't locked in the order that we will be releasing factions. We've obviously revealed the Barbarians and the Imperial so far. They're the ones you saw a little bit earlier. They will most likely be the first 2 factions that we release. But if there's a world where we go, hang on, like, the most fun for a new player is faction 1 and faction 4, then maybe we move things around a little bit and we bring them out first, obviously.
And faction just being a style of army unit or something, or what's the definition of a faction?
I'm not going to answer that question yet, because answering that question would actually start to dive into some of the lore. We're actually working with 2 people actually on the lore and narrative world building side of things at the moment. I don't want to drop anything in that regard because the stuff they're doing is incredible. One of them is a very like an award-winning published fantasy author. That's coincidentally one of our co-founders used to be their housemate. So just it's a small world. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like we're planning on because again, with what we're building in the LFG ecosystem, you want to make sure we have that, the narrative behind, who all of these people are, why are they doing what they're doing, how does that translate potentially across multiple games? So that's one of those ones that I'm not going to answer yet, but when we come to that big reveal, it's pretty cool what we're cooking.
Okay.
And this guy, who is one of the Imperial heroes. So I'm not sure if we've revealed any stuff around this guy previously.
I don't think so. I think it's his first appearance.
Oh, maybe. I bet you Draz is looking at our website right now.
No, I'm looking at the Discord.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Have people seen the trailer? Is there a trailer out for this sort of thing? Have we seen that?
I know I've dropped some snippets from the trailer.
Yeah.
You might have you may have seen a very early version of this.
A grey version of this guy was he ducks his head backwards.
Yeah. It wasn't. That was just very. I think that was in the OG chat.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. If you're not in our Discord, please jump in. All the links you can find on our website, lightningforge.games. They're just up in the top corner to join our Telegram, our Discord, because we do drop different content in different places deliberately. It's almost like we're dragging you along, making you join us everywhere we are.
It's always cryptic, mate. Easter eggs everywhere.
Exactly.
Alcatraz, the cryptic Easter bunny. Basically, you've always been cryptic.
Hey,
just tell us what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta have some fun with this, if we just reveal everything, then there's nothing to do for the next however long until we actually release the first game. Almost just dropped a fucking spoiler there too.
Keep
yeah,
him
so this is
talking.
one
He's
of the
going to make mistakes.
yeah, exactly. No, I'm the goat. I won't make a mistake like that. Maybe that was a hint right there. So yeah, this is one of the Imperial heroes. So again, there'll be 5 different classes of Imperial hero. This one in particular, you will definitely, again, I'm deliberately wording things very vaguely here for a reason. But yeah, as Draz mentioned, this one in particular, you will see in our cinematic announce trailer, which is being put together at the moment. And yeah, he's much more athletic than he looks in this particular screenshot.
Right.
But yeah, so these are all the the turnarounds. So this is basically all the stuff that we have like concept artists put together. Then they'll take that and they'll basically do. Actually, I think this is concept. I think the other one was yeah, that's a 3D render.
Yep.
So it would have started say here. We put this together, then the 3D artists take it, they render, they model, they texture, they test it with different lighting. Because obviously in the 3D space, you're going to have a lot of different lighting and effects going on. So we need to make sure that it all looks good, and then off we go from there. But yeah,
Very nice.
Again, knowing, I mean, we'll get Hitbox on at some point to talk through this in a lot more detail because he's forgotten more about creating incredible art than I will ever know in my life. But yeah, a lot of attention goes into when we're designing characters like this, not just how they look on the screen by themselves, but how is this going to look when it's on screen with 100 other units? How do we make sure that each faction has their own unique feel and identity from both a visual perspective as well as from a gameplay perspective? So art and design work very closely together with that. You need to make sure that when you are creating characters like this, that ideally at a glance you can look at a character and get a feel for what that character will actually be doing in the game. When you're able to bring those two disciplines together, it makes it incredibly easy for players to sort of pick up a game and look at it and understand. Again, a good example of that is probably something like the Bomberman. If you see a unit carrying a big Batman-style bomb in front of him, well, what's he going to do? He's clearly not a spellcaster. He's clearly not the defensive backline. When you see a guy like this carrying a sword that's almost as tall as he is, what do you think he's doing with that? He's sure as hell not picking his nose. I wouldn't recommend that either. That would be quite dangerous.
Chopping off heads.
Pretty much. Or trying to avoid having his own head chopped off. If you've seen that little snippet from the cinematic trailer, that's actually getting pretty close to being done as well. As soon as that's ready, we'll be announcing that and getting that out there as quick as we can. The team's they're in that last 10% at the moment, where they're putting all the real like fine polish into it. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff they're doing at the moment, which is like the level of detail we go into for something like that trailer is insane. Like it's, hey, this unit in the background gets hit, but he's not taking enough damage, or hey, where's the spark as the two swords, on these two units right up in the back corner, you can barely see, like there's no spark when the swords hit and stuff like that. So yeah, really drilling into it and making sure that all that like fine attention to detail is there. Because we have to, because we know the second we put it out there that all the players and all the community members are going to pick it apart. So we've deliberately put Easter eggs in there. There is reveals of stuff we are doing in the LFG ecosystem all over that trailer. Because we know you're going to look for it, so we're going to hide it in there, and we're going to laugh when you don't find it. Unless you do, in which case, I guess mission accomplished. I guess is But yeah, so yeah,
Nice.
some of the art behind the scenes. We're actually one of our other team members who joined this week is a concept artist. So they're currently going through and basically doing a lot of concepting for future factions. Thinking about how they're going to basically look in the game. And working with concept art is great because it means very quickly we can start answering questions like, how are they going to feel when you have a lot of them on screen at one time? Like, what is that sort of visual identity that sets them apart? Make sure they work closely again with design so that, hey, if they look, as like an example, if you had someone who looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger as like a cowardly, mage, it just doesn't work. It would feel so weird and disconnected and just so hard to actually for a player to look at it and understand what's going on. So yeah, making sure that the concepts we're doing align with the design that we're doing and just sort of bringing that whole ecosystem together is definitely a big part of what we're trying to achieve.
Excellent. There's no other real questions, I suppose. I think you've been pretty sort of summarised what you guys are up to next. Obviously, busy
like I said,
building.
Yeah, like I said, jumping on Forge Chat today. We're gonna, I mean, I'm sure Jackson will be organising more of these moving forward. So yeah, get used to seeing him around a lot more. Obviously, he's on our Discord. He's on our Telegram and stuff like that. So definitely, pop in and say hi. But yeah, it was very much just wanting to give everyone an update of everything we're cooking at the moment. Token was an incredible success for the team. Like even had a meeting this morning that came out of Token, which I would love to talk about, but I'm not going to. Basically, that one's very, very fresh still. But yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. So yeah, a bit of travel within Australia, a bit of travel outside of Australia. Obviously, we're going to get little GTFO in the community's hands as quick as we can. And then we'll keep building, and as we say around here, LFG.
Let's fucking go.
Cool. Yeah. I think we can call that a successful Forge Chat in the books. So yeah. Thank you, both of you, for joining me. Have a good day, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Sure.
Cheers.
Later.
Cool. Catch you all.